And welcome into Week 6 Fantasy Wall Street, brought to you by the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We're going to be looking at some players you should be looking to buy before their value skyrockets, or players you should be trying to sell at their peak, or before their stock tanks. Okay, Kyle, give me some good fantasy financial advice, my man.
All right, that first financial advice tonight is going to be a sell of Lad McConkey. He finally had a decent week, 7 targets, 5 catches, but he had a touchdown, his first touchdown of the year. Sell high. There are so many people eating targets in this offense. Don't think he's going to be able to be a consistent, target all year for Herbert. We've seen it already. He trusts Allen. Quentin Johnston is just freaking killing it, and there's just not that much left over from McConkey. So if you can sell him, he's still got some name value left, I think, because he was drafted so high in every league. I think you can take that off a good week and flip him for something a little more useful.
Yeah, I mean, everyone drafted McConkey based off of last year's performance. He was the go-to guy. No one saw QJ coming, and then Keenan Allen coming back was just, he trusts Keenan Allen so much. So I agree. Like, Lad McConkey can have his weeks. He had a pretty solid week 5 performance, and he's going to have weeks like that, but it's not going to be consistent. It's going to be very frustrating. And unfortunately, you're just not going to get the value out of him that you drafted him at. But at this point, get whatever you can, because you aren't going to be able to trust him in your starting lineup, and you're going to be mad a lot this season with him in your starting lineup.
Absolutely, very frustrated. I think a lot of people were like me. They'd kind of written off Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, 100%.
Depending on him, Lad being the guy. Nobody saw the Keenan Allen signing coming. Here he comes. QJ decides, I want to play this year. And it just kind of leaves Lad sitting on the sidelines, figuratively.
Right. Well, even with Keenan Allen getting signed, you're like, well, he's old, right? So he's not going to be, and even the signs of aging aren't showing.
He's playing as good as he ever did. It's incredible.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. All right, who's your next guy?
All right, so my next guy is going to be a buy, and we're looking at Kyle Monangai. This is it's a little bit of a deeper stash. You're not going to grab him and start him right away. But we've talked, if you saw weekly kickoff this week, we've talked about the fact that DeAndre Swift is just not playing very well. He's not efficient with his touches. His only value is if he happens to score a touchdown. I think as early as this week, coming out of the bye, we could start seeing Monangai, maybe Roschon Johnson a little bit. Definitely Kyle Monangai. I think we start seeing him eat into that DeAndre Swift workload and start slowly gaining, his own standalone fantasy relevance. I think by the end of the season, he's got the majority share of this backfield.
Monangai, most people are saying, who's that guy, right? But really, he surpassed Roschon Johnson on the depth chart pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so I agree that Swift has not looked good with the touches he's getting. And so Monangai does have a chance to come on. Now, the good news is we're putting him in the buy column, but he might be a freebie. You could probably go on the waivers and snag him for free because he's still probably out there. So you probably don't have to actually buy him, maybe for a couple fab dollars, but maybe not even that. Kyle, you already said he's a little bit deeper grab. But I would get him now. If you have a roster spot and can get this guy, I would take the chance on it and go snag him and get him on your roster. And if you do buy him, he's going to be super cheap.
Yeah. If you're spending fab on him, it's not going to cost you that much. There's plenty of guys that I'm sure you guys have on your rosters that you can drop to grab him, backup defenses and Isaiah Davises and things like that. I would absolutely do it and stash this guy for sure right away.
Agreed. All right. Who's next?
All right. The next one is going to be a sell of Theo Johnson. He had an okay game against the Chargers the week that Neighbors got hurt. This week, he looked like the go-to guy with Neighbors out instead of Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't think that's going to be the case over the course of the rest of the season. I think that was very much just a fluky matchup situation that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Isaiah Likely in week 1 of last year, for example, first one that comes to mind. Sometimes these things just happen, but it does present a great opportunity if you pick this guy up and there's somebody struggling at tight end. It gives you a pretty good opportunity to sell high and get something that you need for your team off of it.
No, I agree. And, because a lot of people don't pay attention. I mean, he finished with, 21 points or something, but he had 2 touchdowns in there, and that's not sustainable. He's not going to get 2 touchdowns every week, 33 total yards, but 2 touchdowns. That really boosts that point total. Some people only pay attention to that point total, though. So that's all you need him to do is pay attention to that point total in that 1 week and get excited about it, because if there's anything we know about fantasy players, is that they get really excited about big performances and they start overvaluing players really quick. Yeah. And so try to take advantage of whoever's willing to do that.
Yeah, like over the last 2 weeks combined, he has exactly 50 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is not a sustainable pace for anybody.
Nope, not at all. And his schedule isn't the easiest.
No, it's not.
So take advantage while you can.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to the other New York's tight end now, and we're going to buy Mason Taylor.
I love it.
So this guy has become the number 2 option in this offense for Justin Fields to throw to. The receivers after Garrett Wilson are horrible. This guy's getting more and more involved. His targets over the last 3 weeks, 6th and 7th and 12, like it's actually climbing. And like they played Denver this week, and so I think he'll end up getting a lot of play there because Surtain will be on Wilson. But we got Carolina, Cincinnati, a bye. Cleveland could be tough. New England, Baltimore, Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, New Orleans. That schedule, it's the easiest schedule in the league the rest of the year. So not only are his targets going up, his production's going up, Justin Fields trusts him more and more, his schedule also gets way, way easier. So if I'm able to get a hold of Mason Taylor, just like Monangai, if he's on waivers, if you got to trade for him, maybe he's a throw-in as part of another trade, whatever you got to do, get this guy. He's a startable back-end tight end one the rest of the year.
Literally the exact opposite of Theo Johnson for me. Theo Johnson has a tough schedule going forward. Mason Taylor has an easier schedule. Mason Taylor outscored Theo Johnson in week 4 and only came up a point short of him in week 5 with 0 touchdown score. So he is not touchdown dependent. In each of those weeks, he had 65 and then 67 yards in each of those instead of 50 combined for those. So he's not touchdown dependent. Mason Taylor is the real deal. He's a target hog, like you said, as the number 2 receiving option in there. And when they go against teams like Denver in this coming week, where he's going to be hot route, then you're just going to have to do what you got to do, because that offensive line ain't great. So, so he's going to be looking to dump that ball off really quick, and Mason Taylor is that guy.
What does that mean? Hot route.
Thank you for getting that. Wedding Crashers for those of you watching. All right. Who's your next guy, Kyle?
Wedding Crashers for the uninitiated.
There you go.
Okay. Our last sell is going to be Alvin Kamara. And he's not been great with his touches. And you're seeing that because Kendre Miller is getting more and more involved every week, to the point now where there's chatter about, could Kamara get traded before the deadline? We don't know. What we know is that he's losing work to Kendre Miller for sure. And so that dings his value pretty significantly. But even if he does get traded, wherever he ends up, he's going to be a complimentary back. He's not going to go anywhere and be a workhorse again. I think he's pretty much hit that decline at age 30. He's on that downhill slide finally, So definitely I would try to use what's left of his name equity and try to get something more consistent, try to get something better for your team.
I agree. He's not wowing us at all this year, even when he's getting high receptions. But, 8 rushes for 27 yards. Yay. Exciting, right? When Miller is getting a legitimate workload, getting more carries than him. So Yeah, not super excited about Alvin Kamara. Selling him, like you said, based off of name alone, you can get something pretty good. And people are starving for running backs right now, so I'd get as much out of him as you can.
Absolutely. And speaking of running backs, our last bye, Treyveon Henderson, I feel like people are starting to get impatient with this guy. People are starting to give up hope on the fact that he'll ever take over this backfield. And maybe that's right. Maybe he'll never completely take over this backfield this year. But I'm telling you, with Gibson being hurt now, out for the season, Ramondre Stevenson, still with his fumbling issues, will he be
Can't run
involved?
the ball.
Like, will he be involved? Sure. But I think he could take a hit to his piece of the pie if he keeps dropping the ball. And so Treyveon Henderson, I feel like that paradigm shift is going to be shifting towards him getting more and more carries sooner rather than later. If you're waiting on a window to trade for Henderson, it's closing fast. Like, I would run out and try to get this guy this week before we see, these shifts and changes with no Gibson and the fumbling, is that before we actually see it happen on screen.
Yeah, and you're flirting with danger now with Gibson going out, right? So, like you said, that window is closing really fast. Henderson's talented, and Ramondre Stevenson, as much as he wants to stop fumbling the ball, I don't think he's going to be able to stop doing it. I mean, they had the issue all last year, and it's just continued on this year. And I think it's in his head a little bit. And whatever, I don't know what he's got to do with that. I don't really care. I care from a fantasy perspective. He's going to keep doing it. He's going to get in trouble, and Henderson's going to get his shot. And I think Henderson's good enough to take advantage of that shot.
I think so too.
So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for booms and the buys and sells. Our fantasy
yeah.
Yeah, they're booms, they're busts, whatever. Anyways, go check out our boom bust video that we do also. So, all right, guys, get out there, get your trades done, and good luck this week.
We're busting and selling Corey. So good luck in week 6.